Hello. So I want to come back and do a personal story on what I call my disability surgery, or the surgery that left me disabled. It's a little bit of an emotional story, so I'm gonna try not to cry and hold it together. But I have been suffering from endo since I was 19, as far as I know. I wasn't diagnosed till I was 22. But when I was 19 is when I started having all the problems and all the ups and downs and everything. I started noticing like something's not right. So I have been to several doctors here in Michigan, and I decided to leave town and go to Georgia to go to the Endometriosis Center of America. And I went there and I seen one of the top doctors in America. And like I said before, he told me that I was probably going to have endometriosis for the rest of my life. But they need to get in and cut out as much as they could to basically give me a normal quality of life for a few years. And every few years, I would have to come back and repeat this. So, they don't take insurance. I couldn't afford the surgery. So I came back home to Michigan, Detroit, where I'm from. And I started looking for endometriosis specialists, and I found this specialist. I'm going to call him Dr. Z. So, I want to call this surgery by Dr. Z the ultimate betrayal. Because when I was going to see this doctor before I had the surgery, this doctor made me feel like I was his only patient. Every time I went to go see him, he remembered every symptom I had, all the problems I had, my name, like everything. Like, he was an excellent, kind artist, if you ask me. And it was just like, wow, I feel like this is the doctor. This is the doctor that's going to help me. This is the doctor that's going to at least give me some good years of not having the pain. Because like I said before, I expected to have surgery for the rest of my life. But I wasn't going to be disabled. I should have surgery and be able to go back to work in a couple weeks. And be fine. You know. So I was going to see this doctor at least once a month, because I was getting my pain medicine from him. Like I said, every time I went to see him, and it was like I was his only patient. He always remembered me. He remembered stuff about that I told him about my growing up, my kids, like everything that he asked me. Basically, you know how you talk about your daily life or things that you've been through and how you got to this point with even in the progression of this disease. I felt like he was listening and he was going to be there and he was going to help me. Unfortunately, I didn't read his reviews before I had surgery. So I finally had the surgery. I'm back up. While I was going to him and seeing him, even though I was having a lot of pain, I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a plant, cleaning up. And I was working at Dollar Tree, part-time. I couldn't do work like I used to. Like, I used to could work at the plant and work on cars and do everything. I couldn't do that anymore. But I could clean up and I could be a cashier. I couldn't do a lot physically, but I could do something. I could work. So the last day that I worked at Dollar Tree at the dollar store, and I that was on December 2nd. My surgery was on December 7th. This was in 2021. So I literally worked all the way up until a few days before my surgery. And I went in that morning to have my surgery, to the hospital to have my surgery. I was in pain. I was in slight pain. And then they gave me the surgery and I came home. At that time, I was going through some things. So I was homeless and I was staying in a hotel. And I just remember they gave me this bag, ice bag, where you physically put ice in there. It was an ice pack. You put the ice in there and it closed up and it put it on where they cut you open it. And I remember that I had to just keep refilling it, ice pack, ice bag, after ice bag, after ice bag. And I was married at the time. And I remember telling my husband at the time, like, something not right. Like, out of all the surgeries I had, that was my 5th surgery, 6th surgery. I think it was my 5th surgery. I'm like, out of all the surgeries that I had, I've never had more pain after the surgery than I did before I went in there. Like, my pain was literally 15 times worse, if not more than that. Like, when I couldn't walk around before because of the pain, it was different. This time I couldn't walk because it felt like I was being stabbed everywhere, not just in my pelvis. My whole body was aching. My pelvis wasn't right. I couldn't go to the bathroom the same. And then I needed a walker. Like, I needed a walker. At 28, I couldn't walk anymore. Normally, I went in that surgery walking or working and came out not able to work and being on a walker. And that just further pushed me back because I was already homeless. And then I was able to work and afford to stay at the hotel and pay my bills. But I couldn't, like, the surgery left me so messed up. I couldn't do anything but stay in the bed. And it wasn't like before where I was just staying in the bed because it felt like I was cramping. I literally felt like I was deleting slowly. My back was hurting. To find out that was my kidneys hurting. My back was hurting. My bladder was hurting. When I went to the bathroom, I was in pain. And the pain was so bad, I kept going back and forth to the hospitals again. And this was not even a week after that surgery. I was in the hospital and they diagnosed me with renal papillary neurosis. And I was like, what is that? What is that? Like, well, I already knew renal was kidneys, but I'm just like, how? How did I get that? What is it? Where did it come from? And they was like, oh, well, it means that part of your ureter is dying. My what? I got dead tissue inside of my body or dying tissue inside of my body? How did that happen? What went wrong? Nobody knows. And it's like, I cured your endometriosis. You'll never have any more pain. That's what he told me. And I'm like, I'm in pain now. What do you mean you cured my endometriosis? My ureter is dying. Well, that's not my problem because I cured your endometriosis. So now I got a doctor with a God complex because to him, he cured my endometriosis. But to me, I can't walk. I'm walking with a walker. I can't work. I'm stressed out. I'm crying. I'm depressed. I had to check myself into a mental hospital. Every time I've had to check myself into a mental hospital, it's been because of my pain. And not being able to heal right. And I did not heal at all from that surgery. I literally went from having severe, from moderate to severe endometriosis to endometriosis that's off the scale. Like, I had stage 4, then now I have stage 5. And I'm like, well, what is stage 5? Because you don't even say that there is a stage 5 when you go online and look up endometriosis. So what you telling me? I got something y'all can't even figure out now because y'all diagnosis stage from 1 to 4. I have stage 5 because of something somebody literally did to me. Left me disabled. Left me depressed. Left my bladder and my kidneys messed up. And most people usually say, well, that, some things is just outside of the doctor's control. You can't control everything. But I believe that it was done to me on purpose for me to come back. Because there is a group of women that I personally have talked to, or there's a group of women I personally talked to, and there's also another group of women that I see on Facebook who always have surgery and end up saying they've been through some of the same things or worse. Like, I was fortunate to be left with walking on a walker, but I've seen a lady that had surgery with him was unfortunately left not being able to walk at all. And he's still operating to this day, I see women on Facebook saying they want to see him. They're about to have surgery with him. And I mean, how devastating could it be just to me on the outside looking in for me to be a few days from having surgery with a doctor and someone comes in my comments and tell me, please, whatever you do, don't get surgery from this doctor because of I'm disabled or my kidneys is messed up or I can't walk. And it don't just be me in the comments not asking these women to go to him. It be several women in the comments asking people not to go to him. And they're all like, well, all the other doctors take so long. And it's a long time to get in to see the other doctors. And I just can't wait. And I can't hang in. And I'm in so much pain. And I'm tired. I know. That's how I felt when I went to him. I knew it was a better doctor. I knew it was a doctor that had the best ratings in Michigan. But I was so tired. And his waiting list was a year for surgery. I can't wait a year for surgery. And by me not waiting to have that surgery, I literally pushed myself back further than what I probably would have been in the first place if I would have just waited. Because I ended up having to wait a year in the end to have a surgery with him because he had to go back and fix what the other doctor messed up. And he couldn't tell me specifically what was done because there was no pictures that he took. The surgeon that messed me up, Dr. Z, there was no pictures that he took in the surgery, which is something I've never heard of. I've never had a surgery ever, and the doctors didn't take any pictures. But apparently he doesn't take them. And I feel like that should be against the law, against some type of HIPAA rules or something, for you to give a surgery. And it's standard practice for everybody to take pictures and give you pictures. They usually show you where the spots and everything that they removed is at. But you don't give me any pictures, and you come in my room and tell me you're cured. I cured your endometriosis. You'll never have pain again. And not even a week later, I'm worse off than I was before. People don't understand. They just wake up and give up. This is the life that I live. I have to constantly put my life in other people's hands, hoping that I'll get better. As we all do. And as a stubborn person, it's hard. I don't like putting anything in anybody else's hands, let alone my life. So it was already hard when I heard that I was going to have surgery for the rest of my life. But I should have a normal quality of life with the surgery I had. And now I would never have a normal quality of life. All because I couldn't wait. Because I was in so much pain. And I wanted to go to this doctor. So, my suggestion for anyone going through this is you make sure you do your homework on the doctors and read reviews and go find endometriosis groups on Facebook. I'm not sure if there's any on TikTok. Well, I'm sure they are on TikTok and Instagram. There's groups everywhere. But definitely find you an endometriosis group on Facebook. And give reviews of the doctor that you're going to see. before you have surgery. Ask people for their honest opinion and be willing to accept their honest opinion. Because just because someone have a license and went to school don't mean they will know what they're doing or care what they're doing. It don't mean that they care at all. And so just take your time, do your homework. Because I know the best doctors, the wait list to see them is months. Or sometimes even a year out. But obviously, if their wait is that long, they got to be a good doctor. Because people keep coming back and people want to see them. Like, I don't understand how a human being would want to do that to another human being, let alone do it to multiple, other than the fact that they have a God-like complex or want to play God. Because there's women being left disabled. Like, you don't understand what it's like to be disabled at such a young age. Because they don't want to give you disability already because you're young. And on top of that, the doctors half the time don't even recognize endometriosis as a valid disease. So how would you ever convince Social Security that endometriosis is a valid disease? It's an uphill battle. Uphill battle. You can't work. Half of the time you puking your guts out or bent over, cramping in pain. You can't stand up. You can't do anything. And you fighting for your life on a daily basis. And then they're telling you, well, I don't think you're really going to do anything. It ain't real. You just lying. You making this up. Because there is no way that all this goes on. Please do all the research you can on doctors before you see them. Because we already have it hard enough in itself to find a doctor and get to surgeries and see what's going on. To have a doctor give you a surgery and to do things to you that leave you worse off than you was. And with that doctor, I can't even say it had anything to do with my color, because most of the women that I talked to was messed up, was not the same color as me. It's devastating, because I want more out of life. At one point, I was going to school, almost finished with my CMA, which is different than CNA in Georgia. It's basically the same thing. They just train you with more things. And I wanted to be a mortician. And I couldn't finish my clinicals because I started having the pain. And that's when I decided to get that surgery. That surgery was supposed to help me get back to the state so I could finish my clinicals and finish school and go on to mortuary school. And I'll never be able to live my dream because of this disease. All I ever wanted to be was a mortician. All I ever wanted to do was be able to leave my family generational wealth, and I can't. And I know a lot of people feel this way. All they want to do is be able to take care of themselves, be able to take care of their kids, be able to have kids. And they can't because of endometriosis. And then nobody look at it as if it's real because they can't touch it, they can't see it. It's one of the hardest things to live with because people recognize cancer. People say, oh yeah, you got cancer. They want to make your life easier. They understand that. You got lupus. People understand that. But if you say you got endometriosis, people say, oh, it's just a heavy period. And it's not. It's so much more. We go through so much more. We go through so much. So many ups, so many downs. I'm lucky that I have my kids. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to have any. If I didn't, but I did. And I want more kids. But I can't. I haven't been able to have kids since I was 22. Do you know how hard that is? I had to make a decision of my life or having kids. And I wanted to have a lot of kids. And people who know me know that I made some mistakes in my life. But I think everybody always judged me because they thought I didn't care. But it's never that I didn't care. I've been sick my whole adult life. So, when people go around saying that I'm lazy, or I didn't care, or I didn't give enough of a care or hearing things that I'm hearing from my family, especially when it pertains to my children, has been hard because I want to give them the world, but I can't do anything for myself. It's been plenty of times. I remember when I was living in Georgia, my youngest son, when I had the ovary, the cyst on my arm, on my last ovary before it removed it. I was in so much pain, and they had me on this pain medicine. It was so strong. All I could do was lay in the bed. And I remember my son coming in the room and getting in the bed with me and asking me to take him outside. And I couldn't speak and I couldn't move. And that's when I knew that this was going to be something that was probably going to affect me forever. It's some of the hardest things people have to go through. And I feel like I get talked about and laughed at a lot because I can't do a lot of stuff and I don't know a lot of stuff and I haven't been a lot of places. And people always say I don't want that to myself. And that's the hardest thing to hear because I want so much more than what I have to settle for because of this disease. I'm sorry to cry on camera, but I feel like if y'all don't see the rawness of what people go through, you'll never understand how we really feel. And I know for a fact a lot of people don't understand how I feel or what I go through. And think I just complain a lot. And that's why I started this page. Because I don't want to just keep looking like I'm complaining. I want people to really understand what I've been through, what I'm going through, or what I'm going to go through in the future. And not just me, so many other people who go through this disease. So, that's all I have for you for now. That's just a part of my story. It's probably the hardest part to me of my story so far. So, I just want women to do all the research they can on these doctors. Because just like with any other job, people don't go to work. People go to work for a check. And doctors be the most ones. Sometimes they don't even really be doctors. So you have to really do your research. Because endometriosis, one surgery can literally change your life 180 degrees. But thank you. You all have a good day. Please like, share, and subscribe.